Oldish. The art of knowing more and caring less. With your hosts, Randy Spelling, Brian Austin Green, and Sharna Burgess.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Oldish. This is a fun one for us. So we had a guest on Monday, Morgan, who really kind of took us through finances a little bit and really gave us, I think, a better sense of what to do with our lives and sort of how to handle it and take the stress out of it a little bit. So we want to continue the conversation with the three of us with that. Plus also we just sort of want to unpack and talk about where our lives have been and what's been going on this week and weeks before. And this is a fun opportunity for the three of us to sit together and do that because we don't get to do it very often. And I really enjoy these episodes.
I'm glad we're doing this again.
We
same.
used to do this.
Yeah.
And now we're doing it again every week. And it feels good.
Yeah, I love that we have so many guests too because I've also learned so much from them. But we used to do, this was our whole first season, just the three of us.
We reflect.
Right? And it was super fun that way. So I love getting to hang with you guys. But to kick us off, though, that episode with Morgan Housel was phenomenal. I love the way he looks at talking about finance and money with telling stories. I'm a storyteller. I can digest stories. I love that information. When I try and sit and read a finance book, like, was it?
It's German.
Think Like a Freak? Think Like a Freak. I tried to read Think Like a Freak. I could not get through it. My eyes would just close. But the way that Morgan speaks and the way he discusses things, I'm really excited to get into his book, The Psychology of Money, because I resonated with so much of what he was saying. I was also hearing myself in the things he was describing.
We always talk about that just with our show in general. Like we feel like we reach people in a much more organic and better way if we are sharing our experiences within these topics. So people are learning by example more so than us just giving them information constantly, because that can start to feel overwhelming and a bit mundane. And if my brain turns off with that compared to if I'm hearing a story from somebody or a story they heard or a story they experienced, then I'm much more able to take that information in and reflect on my own life and see the things that seem similar with it.
Yeah, and we're figuring it out too. It's messy. A lot of these things we're learning and it's messy too. So I was curious in terms of finances and money mindset, psychology behind it. What did you feel when Morgan was talking about certain things? Was there anything that you started to feel, oh, this is doable, or seeing a different path or a different road?
There was actually two things that stuck out for me. One relates to what you just asked, and another one just popped in my head. So the first one is, it's totally doable. I am a person that understands how much practicing gratitude changed my life. And when I'm deep in the practice of that, I very rarely think about how much is coming in. I'm not needing more and more and more all the time. I'm very happy with my life. So I understand the being happy with what you have and living within your means and working on the mental health side of it. I so relate to the things that he was saying about finding happiness with where you're at. But there was something that he said that I was like, oh, because I grew up with a terrible relationship with money, watching my dad and the way that he would spend. And I was a little bit like that in the beginning when he talked about it's the nature versus nurture thing.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, if you're bad at it, you'll probably always be bad at it. And I was like, what do you mean?
That's not good news.
That was really deflating.
Yes.
But there was something about that. He talked a lot about freedom and independence. And I think both of the things that you brought up converge in this freedom. Like, be grateful in what you have, because if you don't want more, there's a freedom in that. Like, hey, this is the food that I have on my plate.
Because you're never going to get to the end of that wanting and more and more and more. It's never enough. It never fills that space that you're trying to fill with it. So then it just becomes disappointing.
Right. So it's like, here's the food on my plate. Let me be grateful for what I have. And maybe you start to even eat slower toward the end because you're like, oh, I'm going to savor this versus I can't wait for seconds and thirds.
Agreed.
And the other thing is that nature versus nurture. And if we can't change that much, could there be a freedom in, I'm never going to be exceptional. I'm never going to be Warren Buffett. Mm-hmm. So let's just take that pressure off. The expectation lowers.
That's not my path in life.
Right. But then there's Rodney, the janitor, who saved and invested. And if Rodney could do it, could we?
Couldn't we?
Like the $20 a week. Okay, so here's a question for both of you. If you could save $100 a week, let's say, right? For some, that might be 10, it might be 20, it might be 5. If you could save $100 a week, what would you do with that $100 let's say then it's $400, $500 a month, right? What would you do with that?
We talk about it all the time. Like we have what we're saving towards, we have what goes into our joint house account. Like we have different things. And then we talk about the projects we want to do in our house or the vacations that we want to take. And so then we, again, add to that conversation of like, all right, so this money that I'm earning here, we're going to put that in the pot for this and we're going to save that for that. And so we try and do it, like, so to speak, in what you're saying of putting that money towards a goal of something but it is generally bettering the life of our family within our home or spending time with each other going on a vacation. It's never a more expensive car or for me, a handbag or I don't buy those luxury things anymore. It is always being saved for the better of us and our family within our home or enrichment things that we can do with each other.
So more experiential and if there's a house project, but it's for the experience of the house,
right?
For
an improvement of it or something.
Yeah, it's not just stuff. We're never saving for just status things.
Right.
Like, I look so much cooler now because I have this, right? It's all about like functionality for us, whether it be in travel, in going on vacations, or it be, it's like, okay, we need to redo the pool at some point and summer's coming up but we need to replaster it. So, okay, let's put money aside for that, and so it's all about that. What was funny for me, not funny, but talking to Morgan was it was a chance for me to reflect on when we had Nicole Lappin on season 1, because I was so under what is the term? I was underperforming just in the finance department. Like I really had no idea these questions she was asking me. I was like, I don't know what's going into accounts. I don't know what's going here, how that's working. So now in hearing Morgan again talking about it, I was like proud of myself. I was like, okay, I'm actually doing those things now. So I have a much better understanding of what it is I'm doing. And so it's these baby steps, but it was such a relief to sit back and hear from him like, oh, this is a good thing to do. And to know like, I'm doing that.
I love that you had the experience with Nicole Lappin on the first season where you probably thought, oh no, I don't know any of this. And
she was like, what's going into this? And I was like, don't know. And she was like, what do you mean you don't know?
She'd say words and I was like, I don't even know what that word is. I was sweating in that episode. I was actually sweating.
You were the only one that had any sort of sense of like answering the questions, really.
Randy was 10 out of 10, A+. All the way.
Yeah, and she said that at one point, and I remember I was like, just so
she did. I walked away smiling from that episode. I was like, I feel like at least I have an idea of what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but to track your progress,
I mailed you a bomb at that point because I was just not happy.
But that's amazing to see how much you have grown and learned, and that's the whole idea. Is it's never going to be perfect, but it is tracking your growth and seeing that you can change from not knowing all that to now going, I feel pretty proud. That's what's funny is when you go through life relying on other people to do things, it detracts from your understanding of what is happening.
Totally.
I have always had financial advisors and a business manager and people to do these things. So I was always kind of like, oh no, they'll do that. Like I don't need to worry about that stuff. And now I'm in a much clearer sense of like, I love that they're doing it for me. So I don't have to do the grunt work of doing those things all the time, but I want to understand them. And so it's a total different understanding of, like I said, my accounts, being able to now go online, go on an app and go, okay, I've got this came in from here. So it went right into there. So I have a sense of like watching things grow and where they're going.
That's how I got stuck. So the story that I shared about blowing all of my money, when I first got to LA and I was earning all this money, I took on a business manager, not the one that I have now. And that business manager, I went in with the goals that I wanted. I want to buy a house. I want to do this. Like I had things. But he just gave me no accountability. He'd just pay bills. I didn't even have a credit card to build credit. So after 3 or 4 years, I think it was, before I had ended up with Laurie, I had zero credit, no money to show for it, not a house to show for it, and had no education on even how to build wealth or understanding within this country. And so when I went over to Laurie, she's like, I could not rent it because I had broken up with my ex at the time. I was, I think, 29, 30. I couldn't even rent an apartment myself without my friend co-signing because I had no credit.
Wow.
It didn't matter how much money I earned. I had no credit. And Laurie was like, what do you mean? Right. So we fixed all those things. I had my amazing friend, she co-signed for me on the rent. I was there for less than 2 years. I was able to save enough, buy a house, build some credit, and do all of these things because I was given accountability. She sat me down. She'd show me. She would separate everything and show me where my money was going. And I understood the weight of small purchases and luxury and convenience. Mm-hmm. And then she would also make me approve my credit card bills. And then I would sit there, I'm better at it now, but I would sit there at the end of year tax conversation that we're having about, and I was like, this is actually another language.
Right.
Like
it's German.
Yeah. I was just going cross-eyed while sitting there with her and zoning out because I knew nothing. I'm better at it now and I can understand where things are moving and going. And that also gives me a sense of confidence and independence.
Totally. It gives you a huge sense of confidence to know.
It's a relief. Yeah. You feel like you have control over something that has seemed so my finances seemed so out of control for so long. I was like, I don't even know where to begin in these conversations. Like, just talk to her. She knows what's going on. And it's the worst feeling in the world. Because you want to know when you're working so hard to make money, you want to know what's going where, what you have, what you want to save, what you want to have a sense of accountability for it all. And when you don't, it's just maddening because it becomes this world where you're like, I don't know the first thing about this.
I think there's something interesting, this word control and confidence that we're bringing up too. And it is something that Morgan talks about, but we didn't get into. A lot of us can feel like we have no control, especially when you go to work for someone else. Your hours are set for you. You have bills that come in. You feel like you have no control. But saving that $20 a week, $20 a month is something you can control. Mm-hmm. Even if it's $5, you can control and have the confidence that you are doing that every month and it's going towards something. And it really, even if it's a small amount, it all compounds. Like it all adds up to something, just like my spending added up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. The saving can do the same thing. And so I think it's a really great tip for people that even if you are, say you only earn $55,000 a year, right? And you're feeling like there's no possible way you could ever save anything, but maybe $5 a month you could. That's something you can control, and then you can find more and more ways to make it $7 and then $10 if you can. And at the same time, you're, I think, building confidence that you're having the ability in doing that. You're watching something grow. And then hopefully at the same time, working on that, having gratitude for what you have in your space.
Yeah. It's funny. I think spending and saving are these two words, they're really important, but they're so nebulous because you don't see it. And sometimes having visual aids. Mm-hmm. So in a household, getting a sand bucket, colorful, putting it on the counter, and maybe once a week as a family, you go, we could eat out and it would be fun. Or we could take the amount of money that we would spend. We could, use leftovers in the fridge but we're doing it intentionally. So let's just calculate. Let's just say it would have cost $200 to eat out. You have a family of, you're feeding 6 people.
Yeah.
and eating at home and maybe buying something at the store, it's going to cost $80. So you take $120 and you go, we're going to write that down, and you all get to put it in the savings bucket. And then maybe at the end of the month, because everyone gets to see, you go, what do we have in the savings bucket? And all of a sudden, there's $900 or $1,500 in the savings bucket. And there's this idea of, here's where my money's going. And everyone could talk about, what are we saving for? What is a family trip or whatever? So it goes towards something, because otherwise you're like, oh, Amazon, or oh, dinner. And in the moment, those things feel so convenient. But it's like, if I don't do that, I'm depriving myself. And we don't want to feel deprived, right?
Right.
But it's not depriving. It's actually consciously directing it in another way.
Making a choice. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a really great activity or tip or something that people can do as a family.
Because the visual aid really, really helps. Otherwise, it's like, where's this all going?
I just got for the kids these green light debit cards.
Me too. Yeah. I just got that.
And the kids love them, because then they can send these, they can save these savings goals, spending goals, and all these things, and see the money accumulating compared to they just have a wallet full of, bills. And it's amazing, because then now they have this sense of oh, I want to save up for this. I want to do. And if there's something they want to buy, they use their own card, but then they see on their phone or on they see the money go away. It's become a great tool for us. I would suggest to anyone, any family, if you can, green light debit cards are fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I see the way it lights up our kids.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
They are so on top of it now, and they check them every single day.
Yeah.
And the confidence and the control that we're talking about, that's what you're giving to them by doing that, is going, well, how much do I have? Do I really want to buy that pair of shoes? Yeah. Or what if I wait till next month? And they can manage that. Do they talk to you about that? Oh, I only have this amount. And
yeah, they talk to us about all of it. They have, they all have chores that they do. So then there's a weekly amount that goes in. And so they're kind of watching it build, and they can deposit it into different buckets within their account. So it's really cool the way it's structured that way. It's not just one savings account. It's you've got all these different sort of sub buckets that you can put it in. A gift, thing. You have savings goals, and you put money into those. So then if you go into a store and you try to use the card and it goes over what you're saving, it doesn't go into that. It doesn't go into the savings thing. That still stays in it. So it kind of forces their hand to stay on the path of of these goals that they've set for themselves, which is really, it creates responsibility.
And they can also use it. You can add it to things, right? Journey used it to buy something off Amazon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a debit card.
So he has on his VR, he can buy games and things, and I will get, I'll get these alerts on my phone that are Journey just spent $24 on blah, blah, blah. So I know where he's spending, and I can go then into the app and I can see where it's going and what he spent. But it's great because he really has a sense of if I want these things, I've got to use my own money that, again, used to be all wadded up and kind of he had a little wallet, but it's you can't, the days of using cash.
Right.
It's so, they were always coming to me with a stack of cash going, here, I really need this. And so it was $49. I was what do I do with it? Now I've got to go deposit this into, there's a whole thing. Yeah. Now it's they are more current with the times of what shopping has become.
It's helping them understand the value. Journey, for example, he bought this plushie. He's still obsessed with them, loves them. And he's oh my God, it was $24, but it was $24 of his own money. He nurses that thing like a baby.
Yeah.
No stitch is going to come undone.
Yeah, no, is his value for things that he bought himself, all of a sudden it's all going up compared to when you just buy stuff for your kids. They just destroy it. They think oh, you'll just buy me another one.
Exactly.
It's no,
exactly.
You spent your own money on it.
Yeah.
Don't mess it up, because you're going to have to spend your own money to replace it.
It's been really great for our kids.
Good. I think it's great that you're doing that.
It's been invaluable.
I talked to this big bigwig financial guy, manages a lot of money. And I was picking his brain and asking him some questions. And I said, where's the first step to start when it comes to kids in terms of teaching them about money?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, philanthropy. And I thought he was going to say, you teach them about saving. And he said, philanthropy. And I said, more?
Yeah.
And he said, kids also need to see outside of themselves and to think of money in the sense of it's a currency, and it can do good for yourself, for your family, but it can do good for other people as well. And to not have that be detached.
That's amazing.
Can I share briefly about my story with money?
Yeah,
Please.
sure.
Okay. Because you both were talking about business manager and money manager. So you know how I grew up. I mean, I grew up in a very affluent family. And up until 18, my dad would, hand me, when I was little, he'd hand me a 20 if I was going to the movies or something. It got a little bit more as time, went on and things got more expensive.
Yeah.
But my parents also had a credit card, and I didn't think anything of it. I would go out to dinner, and I wouldn't go crazy, but I would go out with a friend and, use the credit card and sort of put it back in the slot that it was in. And when I was 18, everything switched over into my name, and it was no more grabbing my parents' credit card. And I remember then sitting down with my business managers. I had a business manager, accountant, and it was foreign to me. I couldn't understand anything that they were saying. I kind of felt bad about myself, but I kind of didn't care because I was an actor and I was making money, and I was like, I'm 18 and I'm making $400,000 a year, and this is great. And I didn't watch all of it as closely as I should have. And then I kept doing those meetings once or twice a year. They would give me the handout and I'd look it over, and I just saw the bottom line. I was like, hey, I'm doing okay.
Right.
No reason to worry.
Yeah.
And then we got into later on when I started becoming a little bit more responsible, approving my credit cards, like you said, and going over the charges. And then I started to learn a little bit more and become more worried as I saw my money going down because I wasn't making as much. And then it came a time where I couldn't have the business manager anymore. It was just too much monthly. And I was terrified because I was so reliant on what they did for me that I thought, I don't know. I still remember the day that I found this out, and my heart was beating fast. And I thought, how am I going to do all of this? They basically kind of run so much of my life. And I asked them questions. And interestingly enough, I adapted, right? I started learning how to look at all the credit cards digitally and pay for them. And within a few months, I was doing it all. And I'm sharing this story because, like Morgan talked about with nature and nurture, I don't think that my relationship with money fundamentally changed. But like you said a couple years ago, is taking control of what you can, seeing how much I was spending, watching every charge that went on the credit card bill, and being able to manage everything, and then saying, oh, you know what? I'm not going to order that thing that's going to come in, 24 to 48 hours because do I need it? I don't really need it. And is that actually going to stress me out because I kind of want it in the moment, but then am I going to be behind in some way?
Right.
And I wanted to share this because it was painful for me. And I know it sounds funny, but money can be painful. And I think someone listening understands that. You go to bed at night thinking, am I going to have enough?
Oh my God.
Right.
And it'll keep you up all night long because your brain just starts spinning out of
all
control.
night. What ifs? And what if I run out and you're watching things or you're not watching and there's
and especially
no
when you have
control.
kids in a family too, you're really worried about like, oh, if I run out, then what do I do? Like, how do I,
Right.
then how do I handle this?
Right.
Mortgage, car payments, school payments. Like, how, now what do I do?
Yeah. And just lowering that expectation, like Morgan said, of do I even need all of this? And is this all making me happy? Whatever I want for need. So, okay, we put that off for a while. Is that going to necessarily ruin my life? And I don't know if you both have found this, but money is an interesting thing. Now, of course, this I'm not talking about survival, right? Because that there is a certain amount of money where you have, right? I think it's something like 180 to 250 is sort of like, when you have a certain amount of money where you can pay for all of the basic things that you need. Then it's like, okay, yes, you make more money. Yes, you can have more things, but you're out of survival.
Mm-hmm.
Those things that you thought make you so happy, you actually don't need. And sometimes delaying that, you get a chance to see, how can I become more resourceful so that, I can not stress so much. And I think the stress, as we all know, is such a big killer. So anything that you can control around money, if I could do it, if you could learn, if you can figure out how to get credit, and then anyone listening can do that as well. I do believe that. I'd love to hear your money stories. If you want to write in, if you want to include a post, social, let us know where you're at with this, and A, your takeaways, and B, what is one small difference that you can make? Because we're sharing our stories in the hopes that something that we are sharing triggers you to make one small change so you can feel more in control.
What's something you heard
less?
that was like a light bulb moment for you? I think like people have those little aha moments.
Yeah.
I'm so curious especially after episodes like this, of like, what were those things? Mm-hmm. Because we all have them. I had it with Nicole Lappin. I got out, we got out of that episode and I was like, oh man, I want to start reading and making sense of my life, financially.
And speaking of which, Nicole Lappin is another episode that we did a few seasons ago. But if you are interested in hearing more of a money conversation, she gets into like Roth IRAs and prenups. Yeah. She is amazing. So you can go ahead and you can search that episode if you want to go and check that one out too, because it is a really good one. Yeah. You'll hear Brian and I fumbling around questions that we had no idea what they were. Yeah. It's probably a good time for you to listen to. But once again, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into Oldish. We love having you guys hang out with us, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
I just wanted to take a moment to let you know that you don't have to navigate life alone. If there's something hard that you're dealing with, or you're just ready for a change, then reach out to me at randyspelling.com, or you could DM me on Instagram, also at randyspelling. And if I can help you, I will. If there's a resource that I can share with you, I will also do that as well. Thanks.